Hi, hello everyone. Welcome to Scalable Stand. In this session, we are going to discuss a very important topic around migration. So we are going to use AWS Application Migration Service, which is a tool primarily used for lift and shift migration. And as the name suggests, it is not just for rehosting alone. Even you can do re-platforming using the migration hub or the migration tool. So I'll walk you through how to do step-by-step migration of on-premises corporate data center systems to AWS platform. Okay, there are few specific steps that are involved. Okay, so if you look at here, there are four major steps. We have to install the agent if you are going to do it server by server, or if you're going to do a mass migration using vCenter or Hyper-V, we can also do for vCenter, we can do a agentless migration. So which means through the vCenter, you will get all the adequate permission in order to migrate it towards the destination platform. So in our case, the destination is AWS. Okay, we can do the replication. Continuous data replication is supported. So you can continue to do the replication until you perform the cutover. And you also have the option to do the testing if in case you want to do some system acceptance testing or user acceptance testing before you want to bring the systems towards final cutover, or before you bring the destination machines to production. You can do all the integration testing and finalize whether it is ready for cutover. So AWS migration MGN, it is a very highly automated solution. It is a well orchestrated tool where it gives you a very good cost effective migration option. Plus the cutover of the systems is very less in terms of data loss, or with the RPO RTO, it gives you a very good less migration RPO RTO, and large scale migrations are also done using this tool. Okay, we'll get into the practical aspect of the tool. Okay, so we have got a few systems that are running in my on-premises data center. I've got 5 servers, but we'll focus on the first 4. So we are going to do these systems in Wave. Okay, so in organizations, the program manager or the project manager will migrate the systems in different waves. Not all the application and database can be, we might not have enough people or time to do multiple or mass migrations. So what I've planned is to migrate systems wave by wave. I've picked up some Linux systems which are having application as well as database. So I've picked up two combinations. So one is a kind of WordPress application server, and it is having a backend of MariaDB, which is a NoSQL database, and we have also got a relational database running on Postgres, and which is connected to a accounting server, Office Business Server. So I've got two critical applications that I need to migrate first, and these systems, the actual systems which are going to be launched in the AWS environment, will be protected in a target private subnet. And as part of this migration, there are some replication that has to happen from your corporate data center to the destination AWS. And here there is a separate subnet that I've created as a public subnet, which will hold all the replication and the conversion instance. So I'll tell you how this happens. So when you do the migration from on-premises or any other third-party cloud, okay, you can do 3 different combinations or 3 different source. It can be physical server, or it can be a virtual machine running on VMware, vCenter, or Hyper-V, or it can be a third-party or non-AWS cloud also, like Azure or GCP. So irrespective of the source, the migration tool, the MGN tool, it uses 2 different port number. One is for authentication and connecting the systems to the destination MGN platform using the secure SSL 443 port number. And for the data replication, it uses TCP 1500. As of now, these are the standard ports that we have to leverage. Maybe I'm not sure if this can be customized, but these are all the standard ports that it's used for connecting as well as for the data replication. The data that is getting replicated from the source to the destination is all completely encrypted. And see, what happens here is the replication happens at the disk level. So the entire disk will be replicated to a staging repository or a staging volume, and the replication will be handled by a set of replication instances. based on the number of parallel replication that we are doing, the replication instance might differ. The number of replication instance might differ. And if you want to do, for example, if you are planning to do 20 parallel concurrent replications, then you need more system to handle the load. And similarly, after the staged volumes are present in the AWS side of house, what we can do is you can use conversion instance to create a set of servers using the disks that were replicated. So the creation of replication instance, creation of conversion instance are not manual. It is automatically taken care by the MGN tool. So I'll show a step-by-step demo. I've got a Bastion server on the on-premises data center. First, we need to go and download the agents onto the machines that we are planning to migrate. On these 4 machines first, we have to download the agent installer, and then once the agent installer is downloaded and installed, then we can start replicating the system. So since it is going to take some time, I'll start the replication, then I'll come and explain what are the different life cycle, what are the different steps that are involved. We'll discuss deep into the options that are available within AWS MGN service. Okay, so I've also got some combination of Linux and the Windows server. So first we'll focus on Linux server, which are very lightweight or in terms of size of the systems. These are all pretty small servers. So I want to quickly show you how the end-to-end replication process works. There are a lot of steps involved, and see, if you look at here, I've listed down the overall migration flow. You have to install the replication agent. We have to configure the replication template, the launch system template, and then we have to stop the source machine, do a DNS cutover, and then finally we do a wave 2. Okay, I'll walk you through the entire steps that are listed here. Okay, so let me just, okay, let me delete these things. So it is only 15. Okay, even this is for the wave 2. Okay, I don't want to have a lengthy listing. So we have got 3 applications running across 5 servers. So we'll do 2 application migration first, including its database. So it is 4 servers will be migrated in wave 1, and in wave 2, we will do 1 server migration. Okay, let's go and dive deep into this particular topic. Okay, and as I said, we have to start with application MGN region by region. By default, it won't be initialized. So we have to go and initialize the MGN service for the region that we are planning to migrate. Since North Virginia is already overloaded, I'm using Oregon. Okay, and here let's go and find out the MGN service, which is the migration service. So let's open it. By default, the service will not be initialized. And also one more important thing, while you are initializing the service, a lot of different changes happens in your AWS platform. One such example is like if you go to your IAM service, I'll show you how many different roles will get created while you initialize this particular application migration service. Close to 7 different roles will be initiated. If you ask me why we need so many roles, I'll help you understand it. See, for example, if I type application, there is nothing listed as of now. And as I walked you through, there are multiple systems that are involved. There is a replication instance, there is a conversion instance, there is an MGN instance which will take care of the overall migration process. So we need multiple system or a service account that will perform various roles. So in order to follow or in order to adhere to the least privileges model, okay, so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create separate service account with limited permission for performing the role that it needs to perform. Okay, so let's go and do it. So as of now, there is no role as such which has got application within it. So I'll go and get started with this, and this will initialize it. And you can also go and look at the list of role. There are almost 1 service link role, and there are other 6 different role that are going to get created. Okay, so which means like there are 7 different role that are going to get created on this particular AWS account for this particular region. So IAM is a global service, so the roles that are getting created will be leveraged. But if you look at now, okay, so this is getting initialized. Okay, let me go and look at here. Let me go and refresh it. Now you should start seeing the 7 different roles that was listed there. So that's the beauty. See, earlier it was 13. Now the number of roles has got increased to 20 roles. So similarly, like if you are doing something on any of the service which you are initializing, there are a lot of other relevant activities are happening behind the scenes. Okay, so now there are some default templates. There are default replication server template. The launch system template is your cutover system template, and after the cutover, there are some post-launch template which you can use. So I'll talk about these replication launch templates and so on a little later. And Amazon has added a lot of interesting features for the program managers as well, so that they can do a better wave planning and application grouping. So I'll help you understanding how to do those things. But there are zero systems that are added. There is no system that are getting migrated as of now. So what we will do is, like, we'll go and add the servers. There are two ways that you can do it. You can add a vCenter client, or you can add the complete vCenter without installing agent. See, it is clearly saying that if you are doing a vCenter based migration, you can just add the source service without installing an agent on each guest machine, each virtual machine. But if I'm going to do servers one by one, then definitely I have to install the replication agent. I'll show you the complete process first using the replication agent, and then the next demo I'll show you how to use vCenter to perform the migration. Okay, so let's see how to add few systems here. So I've got few on-premises corporate data center servers. I'll give you the inventory here. So these are the systems that I'm planning to migrate. I've got 4 Linux and 1 Windows 2019 server, and these are the applications that are running. So Apache with PHP for the application server with Maria database, MariaDB, and I've got a Java application server with backend of PostgreSQL relational database. So these are the source IP address. So you can bring the same IP address to the cloud, or if you want to have a different IP address, or if you're already using different IP range in AWS, you can leverage it. So bring your own private IP is supported. Own private IP is supported, but still, like, I can also convert the IP addresses. So in order to verify the source machine, so these are the web application link, okay, which I can use to verify. So I have already opened it, and I can also show you currently where exactly these are pointing towards. So if I refresh it and then try to inspect it, it will give me the source IP address details. So if you look at here, I'll just go to the network and troubleshoot it. Okay, so let me do one thing. Okay, I'll log in and show you. Okay, here on this machine, I'll log in. Okay, and then let's do an inspection and see how things are getting connected. So this is one of the Office business accounting server, and if I go to the network, you can see that. Let me give it a refresh. See, it is trying to open up a lot of pages for me, and the main page, or see, this is coming from 192.168 1.127. So that is my on-premises Office business server. Similarly, like, if I go and inspect the other one, it should be 179. So I can do it in a different way. Like, I can just go and do a NS lookup, and then I can also find out which IP address I'm connected towards. This is the same thing that you're seeing here within the browser inspection, same IP address. Okay, fine. So we have got this source environment, which I'm trying to migrate to AWS platform, and I'll show you how how the entire migration works. Okay, so there is a lot of complexity involved, because each of the systems have got its own backend database. One of them has got a NoSQL database, and the other one not only SQL database, and the other one is a relational database, PostgreSQL. Okay, now I'm connecting to the source systems in order to do the download of the agent installer. So I've already connected to one of the systems, WordPress web server. I'll connect to the WordPress database server now. Let me enter the password. Okay, let me just increase the font size for better visibility. I think 12 should be okay. So let us connect to all 4 servers so that we can do parallel installation of the agent. Okay, I'm logging into the Office business server. Okay. So we are going to see complete end-to-end migration, including the DNS cutover steps. We are going to see it. So this will be a real kind of demo. Okay, so Sorry, I've just already connected to the web. I'll just disconnect. I'll open up the database server. Okay, fine. We are all done now. So let's go and start with one by one. So let me get the host name, and also you can also check the IP address here. Okay, if you look at here, it is 192.168.1.179, and this is the host name on premises environment WordPress web server. Similarly, I can show you the other servers also. So this one is a database server. You already see the name here, right? WordPress database. So I don't have to redo something here. So here it is. This one is the office. Okay, so it's already there, and the system name is there. Okay, we can also just quickly double check the IP address. It is 192.168.1.127. So this is what we saw in our inspection here, 127. So the page is coming from this particular on-premises source server. I'm connected to a jump server, which is on my premises. So now, okay, so let's do one thing. Let's go and download the agent. So in order to download the agent, I've got the steps here. So you have to use wget if it is a Windows system, sorry, Linux system. But if it is a Windows server, you can download the installer. It's a package that is available for Windows as well as Linux. So I'm going to download it in this location. Okay, let us download in all the machines which we are planning to migrate. Okay, fine. The agent is downloaded, and let's start the replication, or let's go and initialize the agent installer. So now, okay, so this is the second step. Okay, it is asking for a region name. Okay, I'm going to migrate it to US West 2. Okay, so this is where it gets a little interesting, where we have to kind of have a user account specifically intended for replicating these instances or configuring the replication for these instances. So what I will do is I'll go and create a separate um, instance for this particular replication. Okay, I'll go to users and I'll add a new user. I'll just call it as migration or MGN user. Okay, so that it is easily understandable, so that see if different migration engineers are doing, they can use the same service account. And I can also give the least privilege possible. See, that is what the best practices says. Based on the job function, you have to just give only the privileges that it is needed. Application migration. Okay, so application migration has got a lot of listing here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just install the agent. So for now, let me go and say application migration agent policy. Okay, and within that I've got 3. Okay, I think agent installation, agent policy should be okay. So this is fine. And there is a version 2, but I think version 1 is enough, but version 2 is also okay. So let me go and create a user. And here now I'll just go and create an access key. I can also use the username and password credential, but that's not the preferred method. I'll just go and use the access key and secret access key for this particular migration. Okay, so I'll create an access key. Okay, so let me copy and keep it here for my reference. So this is something that I have for another activity, but I will just use this one. So never store your access key in plain text in a code repository or in any of your infra or application code. Disable or delete the access key when it is no longer needed. So we have given the least privilege permission only, and you have to rotate the keys very often in order to at least once in 60 days or once in 3 months. Okay, let me go and log in using this access key ID here. So it will ask for the access key ID now. So let me give that. Similarly, I'll just give it in all the systems. Okay, interesting. I should have done that here. So let me run this in all the machines. So we have done it in the web server WordPress. Now I'll also do it in my WordPress database server, so I don't miss any of the servers here. So this is done. Now it is going to ask the access key ID. So that is fine. We'll do that. So now I'll do the same in my web server. Okay. So it is prompting for the access key ID. I'll copy and paste it later. Okay. Perfect. Now let's do this thing together. I'll copy and paste the access key ID here on all my machines, wherever it is prompting. Here it is prompting, and I'll just paste it here as well. So now it is prompting for the secret access key. So secret access key, generally it won't be visible for you when after you paste it. So don't worry, you just go and give enter once after you paste it. So it is asking whether you want to replicate specific C drive, D drive, or specific file system, or if you want to replicate all the disk, press the enter. So I'm just going to press the enter. So now the first machine that we have triggered here is the WordPress web server. And once after the agent is downloaded, it will start counting the number of parallel replication. So this is my first instance, which is getting installed with the replication agent. And we should start seeing this on the destination console. I show you. So similarly now, let's see. So this is my WordPress database, fine. So now I'll also do the replication. Okay, for this one. Okay, so this is also now under progress. So we have got these two systems which are now in progress, right? Similarly, I'll just start the same activity in my web server, which is Office Business web server. Okay, so we'll also do the same on my Office Business database server. Perfect. Now I've got 4 different systems that has started installing the replication agent. So it is also checking and downloading the AWS replication agent here. So let's go and verify now, are we seeing any difference or anything is coming up here? So as of now, we are not yet seeing anything. So we should start seeing one by one. So it will only show the active source servers. So let's see if there is any servers which are discovered. No, that's fine. Okay, for now, let's leave it or give it a couple of minutes for the agent to get installed. It will start showing us how many servers are starting to replicate. So you can see that the installing the AWS replication agent is in progress. So you have to use the right credential and the least privileges option to avoid any kind of impact using that account. Okay, now for a safer side, what we can do as well, go to the IAM. You can also download this CSV file, because we never know when our machines might end up with trouble. So let's download that file. So now let's just refresh. Just try to go and check. Okay, it's still going on. Okay, meanwhile, I'll explain what are the things that happens here. So as part of the replication, or while you do the replication, you have to go and create a replication setting template. So there are multiple settings that you can do. This replication template is for your replication instance. And for the system that you're going to launch, you can go and give specific launch settings for each and every EC2 instance that you're going to create. So that will come under your launch template or launch settings template. I'll explain that. So these are the settings that you want to change post the launch. If you want to convert anything or change any specific settings, you can also use the post launch template. So now let's target the replication template to start with. So you can go and change the replication settings for your system. So whether you want to bring your existing IP, bring your private IP, or if you want to create a public IP, or if you want to use some network throttling on the internet or on your replication channel, so that it doesn't impact your production traffic. So you can also configure throttling, and also you can change the size of the replication system if you want to reduce cost, or if you have more replication in parallel, you can also increase the size of the instance so that it does the replication in a faster way. So now, just for here, I can just go and edit the setting. I can just say where exactly I want to stage my system. So now it is asking for the location where I want to stage the replicated volumes. So the staged volumes or the replication instance and the conversion instance, it will be in the public subnet, whereas the actual application and business database server, which is going to have the data, will be on the private subnet. So it is asking where exactly you want to have the replication system sitting and the specific setting. So here I have to select carefully. I have to select target public because I'm just going to use the public subnet for the replication server. Okay, and I can also choose a little more higher size. Okay, so here instead of T2, I can go for T3. Yeah, T3 medium is okay, or else yeah, T3 medium should be fine. And yeah, I think anything over 500 GB, I can go with GP version 3, but I think GP version 2 is fine for now. Encryption is default. I'll leave that. Okay, so always use replication security group. That is fine. So if you need a private public IP to be assigned or created, you can also use that. Okay, that is fine. I think for testing purpose, we can have the public IP to quickly connect and verify. So these are the replication configuration template. Okay, I'll just save this. So while you're doing the testing or cutover, these configuration settings for the replication server will be applicable. Okay, now let's go and check if, very good. Okay, so now I can see that all the systems are getting initiated. So it is currently in not ready state, all 4 systems. Okay, so it is waiting for the initial sync to happen. So let's give it some time, and you can also go and verify whether the replications are started. See, it is telling now I have got 1 active server out of the total 20 parallel replication that I can do. You can also go and increase the quota limit if in case you want to do more than 20 parallel migration. So you can see that second active one out of the 20, and then you got the third active server out of the total quota of 20, and then I've got the 4th active server. So there are 4 different systems that are actively getting replicated now. Okay, this is good. So I'm able to see this here, and there are different stages within the life cycle of the migration. So we call it as migration life cycle stages or state. There are 6 different state. So I'll walk you through one by one. See, if you look at here, the first one is in not ready status, and then it will move on to ready for testing once the initial sync is complete. And once the testing systems are created, or a test instance are created on the destination side, AWS side, it will be ready for test in progress. So at this point of time, what happens is while the initial replication is happening, you will only have the replication instance. And when you want to create a test instance, or when you want to create the final cutover instance, then these conversion instances will be launched. So these systems which are getting launched, it is free of cost for first 90 days. Whereas the conversion instance and the replication instance are, temporary in nature, and you have to pay for multiple, if you're going with multiple replication instances or higher size of replication instance, you have to pay for it. But then these systems are free for 90 days. Okay, so just be aware of that. And now you got different states here, so you can see how much time it has got elapsed and how much data is already replicated and how much time is left over. So all these data you can see. So in general, in real production environment, they will the customers will ask how much time it is going to take for each of these data migration or replication, and how much time we need downtime for the cutover procedure. So downtime is very less. It is needed only during the actual cutover, maybe a few minutes. But then the actual time it takes to replicate the server or migrate the entire system from on-premises to public cloud AWS platform, it depends on case to case. The reason is it depends on the network bandwidth at the WAN level. If you're using a direct connect circuit, you have to find out how much efficient it is. And then if you're using a VPN solution, then we have to definitely do a pilot or a proof of concept to understand how much data traffic can happen at a particular time and how much time it takes to send a particular amount of data. So, and based on the POC, proof of concept of the pilot migration, we will have a rough idea on how much time it might take for the next set of systems that is there in the wave planning. Okay, so don't go and give false commitment that this will happen in a hour or two. It will take different time for different customer. The network bandwidth is different, the network setup is different, and this firewall that devices are that are involved in between might be different. So there are a lot of parameters or a lot of different stuff that will contribute towards this migration timeline. Okay, so now things are getting faster, so I can see the initial sync is happening very fastly, and I'll walk you through the different migration life cycle. So I've got some okay, so this is the flow. Okay, I'll explain the okay, we are all done with the installation of the agent. So these are the six different state or stages in a migration lifecycle. First one is not ready, which means it is not yet, the initial sync is not yet completed. And once the initial sync is completed, it will be ready for the testing. So this is when you go and create a test instance, not the actual production cutover instance. We'll create a test instance and we'll ask the test team to go and do the testing for user acceptance or system integration or whatever testing we need to do. We can do a testing and verify whether the application is working as per our plan, and then finally we can go and launch the cutover instance and complete the cutover activity. Okay, so there are 6 different stages involved, and if you look at here, there are multiple activity that happens behind the scene by creating the staging disk and attaching the staging disk and all those stuff. So I'll show you where exactly we can get more details. So this is where it is. If you scroll down, you can go and look at the event and the metrics from CloudTrail. What is the current status? It will show you how much time it took for replicating the disk, how much time it took for creating the replication instance and all those stuff. So replication is happening, and only 4 more minutes left for the migration to complete. And whatever we are doing currently is agent based. If you are using vCenter system in between, then you can migrate all the source machines without installing agent on each of the source machine. So the initial sync is very fast for a couple of systems. I could see it has already reached 75% on couple of systems, and the other is also not very different. It's going on. So now let's assume that, I mean, I'm going to show you all the 4 systems now, but if in case you want to migrate the WordPress based application server this week and the second system in a separate maintenance window, what you can do is you can group these systems into applications. I'll show you how to do that. So you can select these systems and then you can go to actions and you can add these systems to an application. And I'll call this as a WordPress application. And I'll just say WordPress application server with database. Okay, we have got 2 systems that I'm going to group them into one particular application grouping. This is just a logical thing, nothing to do with technical migrations. So I'm going to add these 2 systems to a Office Business grouping. And I'll create a separate name for this. This is going to be Office Business application server. And I can just give both application and database systems. Okay, add server to the application. This is just a grouping, and these are all some new options that AWS has added. So I can just go to the wave planning here. So I can just mention which wave, which server should be included. Okay, in wave 1, I'll just say I want to replicate the WordPress server. And I can also add more description, what time and which dates and all those things. And similarly, I can go and add one more wave for, you can create multiple waves. So if you have thousands of server, then you might have to do a wave planning. So earlier we used to do it in a project management tool, or program manager will take care of these things. Now AWS gives you an option to visualize how many systems are involved, how many applications we are replicating, and what is the current status. So now if you go and look at the source servers, Okay, initial sync is 100% on 3 of them. It is creating the first snapshot. So that is how it works. So once the initial sync is complete, it will start taking a snapshot, and it will prepare the system for testing. Okay, so only after we do the testing, it will allow us to do the cutover. See, if you look at here, it has these many options, and if I go and select this system, it will not allow us to directly go to cutover. So you have to first do the testing, and then you have to mark the system ready for the cutover. Then only you can go and launch the actual cutover production instance on the destination side. Unless that time, you will get server to test all the functionalities, but it will be in most of the cases, it will be in a different VPC or a different subnet, so that the test system and the production systems are not impacting each other. So generally, we won't go and launch the system in the production subnet to avoid any kind of impact to the application that are already running in those subnet and VPC. Okay, so let's give it a time, and generally it takes a couple of minutes to create a snapshot and allow us to do the cutover. So far, what we have done, we have installed the agent on, before that, we have initialized the application migration service. So first thing is to initialize the MGN service, and that will automatically create some kind of roles in IAM. Roles gets created in IAM, and we go and create a service account that will be used for the replication, for agent installation and replication of the source server. Okay, and we can just go and check the prerequisite, whether we have the supported operating system, whether we have got enough bandwidth, and we go and install the replication agent by downloading it for Linux and Windows, appropriate agents for them. And then now, okay, so let's go and push the DNS update. Okay, post launch, let's see. Okay, let's do that later. Now, okay, it is still going on. Okay, it will take some time. Okay, see, you can see the last snapshot is almost done, and it is helping us to get prepared. We can also do one thing. We can also go and create the EC2 launch template. So once after the replication of the disk is complete, see, if I go inside the system, I should see the disk that is already completed. See, it should be showing 8 out of 8 GB is already replicated, and you can see how much time overall it took, and what kind of replication it is, what is the replication progress. And once it is ready for testing, it will say that it will be ready for testing. Okay, so let's just wait. Okay, just go back to your application, and you can also check here whether if there is any issue here. It should show in progress and healthy. This is all good. You can also check the wave planning. Okay, and also you can go and check the launch history. We have not launched any of the system as of it. We have not tested it. We have not done any cutover in this account yet. Okay, now this launch template is a template to decide how you want these systems to be created, with what kind of instance type you want, what kind of IP address you want, what kind of license you are going to use, what kind of disk you are going to use. All those options, you have to select it here. So it is giving us a lot of option. So you can bring your own private IP, whatever IP address that you have on the source, you can bring that to the destination here. And you can also bring your own licenses. So it is asking which license you want to use. So you can go and select specific option for each of these server. Okay, so let's do one thing. Let me go and configure some specific settings here. And then, okay, so instance type right sizing. See, as of now, the source environment and the destination environment is a little different. Okay, you can activate the instance type right sizing so that it will automatically change the instance type on the destination based on the workload. But I would prefer to spend some time like at least 2 to 4 weeks time to look at how the system performs on the destination, and then we can go and do a right sizing. So I'll just skip this here, and you can also copy the private IP if you want to continue using the same IP address. And if you want to bring your own license, you can bring this own license. Okay, if you have some tagging on the Azure or the Google side, you can also leave it. So here the target subnet, where exactly the systems should have to be launched. That is something we can decide later. Okay, so okay, this is fine. I'll show you those things at a later stage. Let me save the template. The common settings, you can define it on the launch template. There are some specific settings that you can do for the each EC2 instances. That will be here. Okay, what kind of EC2 launch template that you want to do. You can also do it for each of your systems as well. I'll show you where exactly that is. So if I go here, you can see the launch settings for each of your EC2 instance. So here you can go and specify how you want the EC2 launch system should look like, which security group it should use, which subnet it should be part of, whether you should need a public IP address, and all those things you can change it. Okay, let's give it a couple of minutes. I think it is currently showing not ready for testing. And once it is ready for testing, I think we can go and start performing some testing here. So what I will do is I'll show you how many instances are here, which has got on-prem.env filter. So currently there is no systems that are there. So let's wait for the testing status to be ready. Okay, generally it takes around 15 to 20 minutes max. Okay, currently it is around 17 minutes. So we should be good in a 2 or 3 minutes from now. Okay, but again, it all depends on the current bandwidth, current traffic that is on your source and destination systems. So later I've already talked about Migration Hub in a separate video, and I've also talked about the application discovery service, which we have to discover and assess before we do this actual migration. So I also talked about this application discovery tool. Some of the organization, they might have their own preference, like they might use Device 42 or Cloudscape or different tools for doing the assessment or doing the discovery and assessment both. They might use some third-party tools. Some organizations are using Science Logic, or some of them are using their existing VMware tool set. So VMware has got now a lot of products which can help you to do the discovery and assessment, right? Even you can use some small, if it is a small set of servers, you can use RV Tools report to go and find out how much the system is utilizing in terms of CPU, memory, and all those stuff. Okay, now I think, okay, it is initial sync is 100%, but the snapshot creation is taking some time. Okay, so you can also go and look at that. You can go and see what is happening on the behind the scenes. Now you can see that AWS application migration service is creating a lot of snapshots, in fact. Okay, and all of them are encrypted, which is good. Okay, let's give it some time. So the last one in the list is, okay, the base snapshot. That is fine. That is for the service. But these are the snapshot that is getting created for our systems. Okay, let it happen on the back end. Now, hopefully this, very nice. Okay, so all the systems are now ready for testing. Happy to see this. So now if I go inside the system, you can see that all the systems are now, the initial replication is showing finished. And you can also go and look at for more details here. And let me also try to open this in a new tab so that we can also have a look at what's available there. So 8 out of 8 GB is done, and let's go and trigger the testing. Okay, now I'll just go and do it for all the systems. So all the systems should look like the same. So if I go to the database also, it should say the same status. Initial synchronization is done, or initial replication is done, and it's all good. Okay, so it all took around 18 minutes, which is good, or 17 to 18 minutes. I'll just select all of them, and I'll just go and do a launch test instance. So before you go for the cutover, you have to launch the test instance and find out whether the testing is happening as per, whether the instances are getting launched. It is going to create these 4 systems, and I'm just going to filter down with this name. Okay, let me go and launch these 4 instances on the destination AWS side. So it is saying testing in progress. In a couple of minutes from now, I should start seeing some new instances that are getting created in my EC2 instance console. I can just go and say on-prem dot environment. So it is still empty, but I can start seeing some replication servers, okay? Because we are doing the replication now, right? So it should start creating it. Let's give it a minute or two. Let's not rush here. Okay. Fine, let's see what's happening here. Testing is in progress. It says healthy. Okay, it is saying complete testing and mark as ready for cutover. This is the next step, okay, not the current step. Once after you complete the testing, once the application team verifies whether the system integration is working fine, whether the users are okay with the web pages and the access speed, performance, and once they say system acceptance testing is good, then we are all good. Okay, so let's wait for things to complete. I should start seeing something here. Okay, it's taking its own time. We can also go and check the status. Test in progress. Okay, it is waiting. The launch instance is still waiting. You can also go and check the job ID. So if you and here, you can go and check the launch history. See, there are 4 systems that are getting launched, and within this job ID, you can find out what are the systems that it is creating. See, these are the systems that it is spinning. So it is using the snapshot to start the systems. Okay, so now this is the beauty here. So the disks are already replicated using the initial replication or the initial sync. Now the conversion instance will take this disk and it will create these systems. So it will use the snapshot behind the scenes. Okay, now I can also go and check if there are any systems with the name conversion. Okay, let's see. There should not be any challenges. Okay, test is in progress. Initial replication finished. So let's go and look at the cloud trail. Okay, perfect. So here you can see that there are a lot of logs around the replication in the cloud trail also. You can also troubleshoot if in case if you're not able to update or if you're not able to replicate, you can also go and filter by each and every system. Okay, you have option to filter by name or event ID or whatever. So you have a lot of options there. Okay, so this will take a minute or two to create the systems from the snapshot or from the disk. Okay, so let's not just continuously trigger that. Okay, so now here I can see that there are some more steps involved. This is the post-launch template. Post-launch template is once after the source systems is brought down, and if you want to make some changes on the destination systems, you can also newly added system will be having this new launch template configuration. Okay, fine. Okay, good. It's all going on well. There is no issues reported, all healthy, green. Okay, it will take a minute. Okay, meanwhile, I'll just see if I can share any information from here. So we have done the initial replication status is good. Now we are going to about to launch the test instance. We already created the template for launch instance and the replication. So once we test it, we are all done. Okay, fine. So Migration Factory is a beautiful tool where it involves people, process, and tools. Here they call it as teams, tools, and processes. In some company they call it as people, processes, and tools. And see, if you have a lot of workload to migrate, if you have thousands of workload to migrate, then you better use this AWS Migration Hub. So it is one single pane of glass. You can do a lot of different activities. It's an interesting tool, but that's fine. I've logged in with an account with limited privileges. So I'll I've already talked about the different phases in the migration, but this session is specifically for doing the actual migration and cutover. Okay, so let's close these things. I'll come to that later. So let's not have too many screens open. So test is in progress. And how about the systems here? Okay, it is still going on. See, I can see the conversion servers are getting created. So there are 4 different conversion servers that has got created for converting this snapshots or converting this volumes into a server. Okay, so I can see some evidences that things are going on. Okay, it has created the conversion server. So now only thing I want to find is whether the on-prem systems are getting launched into the destination environment. So I mean, you cannot do these things just like that. It takes its own time, maybe a few seconds to few minutes based on the changes that are getting made on the source server. And you can also look at the system. So time elapsed is 27 minutes. That is fine. You can look at the server info here. You can also find more details. Okay, so what kind of source machine it is, what kind of operating system it is, what kind of capacity, what kind of disk we have given, what is the RAM size, all those server info, the disk settings, replication settings, everything you can see it here. You can also change it. See if you want to change the staging disk type from standard HDD to standard SSD or premium SSD to have better performance, you can also change that anytime. Okay, so these are the launch settings after the system is going to get created. Okay, I think this is all fine for now. Okay, I might need a public IP in these systems. Okay, let me modify that later. So did I say no for the public IP here? Okay, I did not get that option there, but I can just go and change it later. Okay, test is in progress. On-prem.environment. Here it is. Okay, so it is having this name, on-prem simulator. Okay, so now we are still in testing stage. So I can see there are 4 systems that are getting created and it is getting restarted. That is fine. Okay, so now I can see the name with on-prem sim.environment because it is a simulated environment. Now we have got the lab testing going on. Okay, so once the testing is done, you can just go and mark these systems ready for cutover. Okay, so in the interest of time, I'll just go and say mark ready for cutover so that I can show you the cutover activity. Okay, so you are about to mark 4 servers as have been tested and ready for cutover. That is fine. So in reality, okay, so we'll have to give some time for the application team to go and test. They might ask for 2 days or even a week's time to go and fully test the functionality of the system that has been replicated to AWS side. So let's give it some time. It says the systems are getting restarted and it's not in a state to see it is running now. One of them is already initializing. So all of them should have to be in a running state in order to make them ready for cutover. Okay, so one of them is still getting restarted. So let's give it some time. Okay, all 4 are running, all 4 are initializing. So all of them should say 2 by 2 status checks are passed. So let's give it the time that it needs to perform it properly. Oh, beautiful. Okay, so you can see it is all launched. It is all test in progress. It's all healthy now. Now you can just go and complete the testing and mark it ready for cutover. Now we are all good now. So let me go and say mark as ready for cutover. Now there should not be any issues. It is asking, would you like to terminate the instance which were launched for testing? Yes, I would like to because I don't want to have those systems in the AWS EC2 instance listing and causing some issues for my production cutover. I'm going to terminate the testing instances. So the 4 instances that got created, now it will start getting terminated. See, it is shutting down. Beautiful. So things are working as expected. Okay, so then I'm going to show you how it works after the cutover. Okay, so now it is ready for cutover. All the systems are ready for cutover. So you can also go and revert to ready for testing if in case the application team says the replication is not proper. You have to go and do the replication again. You can actually go and start the data replication or stop the data replication if you want to avoid any impact to the destination system. So you have those options to do. And even you can also have the option to disconnect from the service, which means once you are done with the replication, you can also disconnect and mark them as archived. Okay, I'll show you that. See, the archived servers will be listed here. Okay, so you can also go and look at the archived systems which was historically migrated or replicated. Those options are also there under archiving process. So now I'm going to launch the cutover instance. Before the finalized cutover, I have to go and create the launch cutover instance now. So it is going to create 4 different systems now. Let me launch it. So now launch exists, I have the wrong life cycle state. Okay. So it is still completing the job. The shutting down is not yet complete. Yeah, just be patient for some time. See, one of the system is still shutting down. Looks like this system is taking its own time to get done. Okay, let all the system get terminated. Only then you have to go and cut over. Okay, only then you have to go and start the cutover. If you have the test system getting decommissioned still, you will not be allowed to do that. Okay, so at least like in real time, the entire weekend will be spent for such migration. So now we are doing all these things in a matter of 2 to 3 hours. Okay, setting down and but it says it's ready for cutover, but let's not do anything for now. It's ready for cutover. Launch cutover instance is the next step. Once we see the 4th system is terminated, we can go and do that. Okay, I'll be ready for that. I'll just go and launch the cutover instance once we are done. Perfect. So now all the 4 systems which were launched were terminated. Now we are good to go and do the launch. So you are about to launch EC2 instances. Good. So it says the source server is being processed by another job. Okay, still there is some activity still going on. Okay, let's go and verify. Okay, it is ready for cutover. Okay, there is no pending activities. Now we are going to do the launch cutover instance, but before that, let's do one thing. Let's go and verify the EC2 launch template settings, whether it is as per our intended settings. Okay, let us go and check here. So we can also go and select the application migration service always uses the default version of the EC2 launch template. Okay, let's modify this. Okay, I'll also check this one. Let's go and check this. So these are the settings default. Now that launch template should have to be coming to where? Target, private. Okay, this is fine. This is all good. Think instance type also, I can just go with C3 large or C5 large should be okay because these are all heavy systems. Okay, this is fine. I'll just save this template. We used to have a little more different screen earlier. Okay, but that's fine. Things change, right? Okay, this is another way like where you can go and create a launch template. Don't include in launch template, see file large, don't include. So I can also just try to create one launch template for migration. This is fine. This option is good. Launch template, existing security group. I can just go and choose the one which I have got already for application migration. So there are multiple different groups for, okay, let me go and choose the target security group. And then let me go and create a template version. Okay, this is fine. So now let's see where we are. Okay, it says healthy and ready for cutover. Let's try that now. Launch the cutover instance. Perfect. See, that is how you have to give some time, okay, some at least 5 to 10 minutes time. So I've just given only 3 to 5 minutes here, and now cutover is in progress. Once the cutover is done, you have the option to go and finalize the cutover. Okay, this process, the entire process is very seamless, very well orchestrated. That's why we call it as a very good large scale migration can be done with no performance impact, and it supports wide range of operating systems and platform. When I say wide range of operating system and platform, almost all the 32-bit operating systems, Windows or Linux. Maybe we don't, I mean, this MGN doesn't support the non-x86 platform like AIX or another Unix systems, but most of the Windows and Linux systems are supported. It is fully automated, and the IT resources that is needed for the entire project migration is very minimal. Okay, and you can do the cutover with very minimal downtime. And what we have done so far, we have installed the agent, we have replicated the disks from the on-premises to the AWS staging environment. We did the testing, and now we are executing the cutover on the final cutover date. Okay, these are the four high-level steps: continuous replication, testing, then final cutover execution. Okay, let's go and find it out. So now it's time to bring down the source system also. I can also show you this. So this is one of my critical application server. It is still working. So I can close this. I can log out from this Office Business Server. I'll show you, okay? I'll show you before and after migration, okay? So this is a very important accounting software application. I've got one more application, which is here. Okay, the cutover is in progress. Now I should start seeing the new instances getting launched. Perfect. So let's wait for some time. I should start seeing some new instances getting created. Let's go and look at the launch history. Let's see what is happening. See, it is saying launch cutover instance. Earlier, it was launch test instance that was completed, and we have terminated the test instances. Now we are seeing the launch cutover instances that was triggered 2 minutes back. Okay, let's wait for it. Okay, it is taking the snapshot, and it has started the job at 9:55 India time. So now we are at 9:58. It has just started 3 minutes back. Excellent. Okay, let's give it a few minutes for this cutover to happen. Okay, once after the launch cutover is done, we have to go and stop the source machine, and we have to update the DNS, and we can do a cutover. See, if the two different environments are completely different from one another, I think we can just, it's up to you to leave them active so that you have an active on-prem and AWS platform. So let's give it some time. Okay, it will take at least 5 to 10 minutes. So meanwhile, we can just take a quick break here. I'll stop the recording for some time, and then we'll resume it.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, now we could see the system status are cut over in progress, and here it says it is already launched and the data replication is also healthy. So if I go to the launch history here, I can see that launch cutover instances is fully completed, and it took some time. And here you can just go and look at the detailed information on when this particular job started and then when it got fully completed. It took around 10 minutes, which is fair enough. So you can also go and look at all the historical details from launch history. You can also use the cloud trail, but uh, this gives you a better filtered information just around the migration logs. Okay, now I can just go and check whether the 4 systems are running. Yeah, perfect. I could see the 4 different systems are running up and running on my AWS platform. And you can just see that it has got a complete different IP range from 172. Okay, now I'll also just check quickly if this has got the ports open. Yeah, fine. Okay, so now let's do a quick check. Let us go to the source servers. Now let's complete the cutover. Completing cutover means we are finalizing the cutover, and after this stage your replication will completely stop. There won't be any further continuous data replication. So if I click on finalize replication, it says this action cannot be reversed. This will cause all the replicated this data to be discarded, and all the AWS resources used for data replication will also be terminated. So this refers to the replication and the conversion servers. Okay, let's finalize it. Okay, so once see, you can see the data replication status has got now disconnected, and even you can also, once you are completely done, you can go and mark it as archived. Once you mark it as archived, you can go and check it under the archived source servers. Okay, but for now let's wait for the full cutover to be done. Okay, so it says cutover is complete and the things are disconnected. Let's go and quickly check if there is anything that is happening here. Okay, so it's all done. Now let's go and log into these systems on the destination side. Okay, so I'll get the IP address for these systems quickly. So this is my Office server, WordPress, web, WordPress, the database, MongoDB, DB server IP address. This is the MongoDB one. Okay, and I've got the Office Business Server web and database also. So now I think we can ask the team to kind of will provide these IP address to them, and then they will check and confirm whether the application is working as per expected. Okay, this is on the application testing side, but we can just see the system is all good. This is running Postgres database, and we can see all the 4 systems are having 2x2 checks passed, and the instance status is running. So this is all good. So excellent. So we are completely done with the migration. So let's also do one more step. As part of the cutover, generally what we do is we update the DNS records in the DNS systems. So in some office locations, they might be using Infoblox or IP address management IPAM solution, or they might be using Windows-based DNS servers. Here, I'm using a Linux-based bind system. So what I will do is I'll go and get them updated. So here it is. So these are the command to update the host record. In Windows, we go and just say ipconfig/register DNS. But in Linux, we can just go and add the A record and PTR record. Let me just go and do this on my new destination systems. Okay, just a second. I'll copy the keypad and get them added here. Okay, let me also copy the IP address details from this location to there. Okay, Let's do this. Let me copy the key. Just I'll stop the share.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, now